Since the first pieces of literature, there has been a message or type of behavior that is contrary to the main character's or author's way of thinking and acting. When these thoughts or actions are personified, you have the villain. Villains come in many different forms, but you have 4 main portrayals: the evil villain, the insane villain, the envious villain, and ethical villains. Evil villains are usually cruel and malicious people, involved or devoted to wickedness or crime. Insane villains are villains who aren't behaving badly for sensible reasons. They can't be rationalized with, and they can't be moved by empathy for others. Envious villains are villains who are motivated, at least partially, by envy or jealousy. They despise others for possessing something that they lack. Ethical villains conform to most, if not all, of society's moral norms, but somewhere along the line, their ethics differ from those of the protagonist. These tie directly into the story. When looking at the storytelling mountain, there isn't a single part of the story that isn't directly tied to the antagonist. Yet despite the importance of the antagonist, they are often neglected, specifically in hero-related TV shows, films, and games. These villains are often one-dimensional and are very bland, lacking convincing motivations, and have very little character growth, if any at all. Examples of good villains include Handsome Jack from the Borderlands franchise, Darth Vader from the Star Wars franchise, and Patrick Bateman from the cult classic American Psycho. Examples of disappointing villains include Sauron from Lord of the Rings, Jared Leto's Joker, and Brahms from the worst movie in the last 40 years, The Boy. But enough about villains, let's talk about a very specific villain, the man of the hour, Homelander, the perfect villain. Now, the evil Superman trope has been done for decades, but let me explain how The Boys does it right. Homelander isn't just powerful to be powerful. His power is felt in the show without being displayed. His motivations are grounded in reality, and his weaknesses are relatable, which I will talk more in depth about later in the video. Homelander's character evolves throughout the show. As he learns things or experiences events, his outlook on the world changes. He affects the world as much as it affects him. The Homelander from Season 3, Episode 8 isn't the same person from Season 1, Episode 1. In addition, his growth as a character isn't a cliche switch from the good side to the bad side or vice versa. His growth as a character is gradual, taking place over many episodes and seasons. Let's talk about the type of villain that Homelander is. I don't believe Homelander to be an evil villain. Nothing is gained from his crimes. His crimes are committed to prevent loss, usually. While his mental composure has deteriorated and he has displayed symptoms of psychosis in specific instances, he is in touch with reality most of the time, so I don't believe him to be insane. He is far from an ethical villain due to his actions alone, meaning when it comes to which type of villain he is, the closest type to him is the envious villain, sort of. This is seen throughout the show. Whenever someone is doing better than him, or makes him feel dumb, or he isn't given the attention he believes he deserves, he responds with anger. No one is more important than him. It is really all about him. This plays into his immense power very well. When he gets upset, the other characters are overtaken by terror. His power is felt throughout the show and every interaction he has. When his composure slips, the dynamic of the scene dramatically shifts. The writers do not have to explicitly show how powerful Homelander is because the reactions of others communicate that perfectly with the audience. This makes his actual displays of power more impactful and horrifying. His motivations also double as the things that lead to his downfall. Homelander cares about 2 things: his son and his image. Every action he takes or chooses not to take is influenced by one of those things. And this is what makes his motivations relatable. Every human has based some decisions in their life on what others would think of them. Some being small decisions, like what to wear, and some being large decisions, like what to go to school for. Homelander is also fighting to raise his son the way he believes is right. He is fighting for and doing the same things that normal people do. This, compounded with the fact that he has very slight diminished responsibility due to his less than favorable upbringing, almost makes him a relatable character. His intentions are noble. He wants to be loved and give his son the life he never had. He wants to be a hero. It almost makes me want to root for him. I almost want him to win because I can see parts of myself in him. But his actions are so horrific and so shocking that he is clearly the bad guy of the series, meaning that even if I support the causes he's fighting for, I understand that he needs to be defeated. The truth is, He isn't even a villain. He is an anti-villain. For those of you who don't know, an anti-villain is a character who has heroic personality traits or goals, but is ultimately the antagonist in the story. But Homelander is the perfect anti-villain isn't a very good title.
You know what, Chelsea? I think you should jump.
I don't think I want to.
You don't want to? Why don't you show a little follow-through, Chelsea? Jump.
Please, I just want to get
I'm not
down.
suggesting anymore. Jump.